had an experience with who I believe was the Hat Man at age 16. I was in a really tough place in my life, living in my very Christian grandmother's house, who is also a 5th-gen medium and a licensed hypnotherapist. While I have been gifted some abilities of my own, I don't hone on them or utilize them as I should. I woke up in the middle of the night and opened my eyes and saw a man wearing some very nice dress shoes and slacks with a long trench coat next to my bed. I didn't bother to look up at him more than what I had just opened my eyes to. Scared the shit out of me, so I closed my eyes and rolled onto my back rather than my side. I felt the bed sink in as he basically straddled me. I was so scared I just kept my eyes closed. Then he put his hands on my shoulders and started trying to shake me. I opened my eyes, and it was just red glowing eyes staring at me with a black hat and no distinctive facial features. It was more like a black mist, sort of. I didn't know what to do, entered fight or flight, and separated my spirit from my body while he was holding me down, and I punched him in the face, LOL. Needless to say, that took care of it. There was a high-pitched ringing and everything went blue and black in my vision, and I popped up from my bed. Never saw him again to this day. I actually had no idea until today that this was a universal thing, and I'm not the only one who's experienced him, so I came to Reddit to see other people's stories after seeing a meme about him. If you've had any experiences similar, I would love to hear about it. Black Eye's story. While I was around 6 to 7 years old, I was playing in my backyard. BTA, the hill I lived on was apparently an Indian burial ground. I had a dinosaur set and was playing with them on my swing set. It was almost dark, and I remember looking up at my grandmother's porch. It was a wraparound at the time, and on the other side I saw this figure. It had a white face, black hollow eyes, and had black hair. It slowly just bent over far enough so I could see it. Me being young thought possibly what if it was my grandmother because she had black hair? I ran up to the house, went inside to her bedroom, and she was just lying on the bed watching TV, telling me she had not been outside at all. I have a lot more stories about the land I grew up on. Almost all that lived and lives there are family. We've all experienced weird things. That was the spookiest story that popped in my head when I saw this. It gives me goosebumps. Dead dog comes to say goodbye. This happened when I was about 10 years old, living with my grandparents in their house with my mother and little sister as the result of a messy divorce. Almost everybody who's been in and out of that house before has some sort of paranormal experience to share, and I have a dozen of my own, but this was my most direct and obvious, and the one that stuck with me the most. We had our beds and all our stuff in the back room, which had a door leading into a small hallway that had a sink with a large mirror, a bathroom, and a wooden, dusty old sauna and bathtub at the very end that were both now used for keeping junk. I could never sleep with that door open without getting nightmares and feeling this horrible, oppressive presence. I know something lives back there, but I don't think I'll ever get the chance to figure out what. I think the fact that we were so close to this hallway had something to do with what I'm about to describe. So, my little sister and I had a large mutt of a dog called Penny, who was an absolute sweetheart. My grandpa didn't like her at all though, and insisted upon making her an outside dog. He would literally throw her outside whenever she tried to stick her nose in through the backyard door. Living in Nevada, during the peak of summer, one day we found her lying on the concrete near her kennel, dead for God knows how long from heat stroke. It was a horrible day. My grandpa and my mom wrapped her up in a towel, stuck her in the back of the van, and took her wherever you take dead dogs. The memories are blurry, but they were both insist that my sister and I stay back with my grandma. That night, I went to sleep in my mom's bed. After a while, as I was a kicker, she kicked me out and tucked me into my own bed. I don't remember falling asleep. The very next thing I remember is lying on my bed, staring at the roof with this overwhelming feeling of despair sitting on my chest. It was almost hard to breathe with how horrible I felt. Then, I hear Penny walking on the carpeted floor, her breathing, the sound of her paws, everything is her. My hand is hanging off of the bed, and she puts her nose into it, almost nuzzling it, and whines. The weight comes off of my chest and I remember smiling a little and calling her a good girl. Then, she was gone. I woke up crying, so hard I almost couldn't breathe again. There's my memory. I don't think it was really a dream, and my grandma says to this day she wanted to say goodbye to me. I knew Penny was hurting before she died, and I like to think this was her telling me that she's okay, she loves me, and she's leaving now. I wish I had more time with her. We had Penny for less than 2 years, but I'll never forget my girl.